Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer podcast. This is Deb McBride, and I am broadcasting from lovely Escazú, Costa Rica. I hope everyone had a lovely Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa last week. And if you didn't celebrate, I hope your week was lovely all the same. And now we are headed towards New Year's and the experience of a brand new year, which promises to be powerful and intense and unprecedented. So, on that note, I have a new video available. If you have not seen it yet, I announced it last week. I also put it out on my blog that my 2020 year ahead video is available, and you can purchase it for $15 on my website. It's 75 minutes long, and I go through all the major aspects of the year 2020, and I do start with the eclipse that we just had last Thursday, the day after Christmas. And you can go to my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, and click on book online. And if you scroll down, you will see the options to purchase the video as well as options to book a session with me. So I just wanted to let people know that. And when you purchase the video, I will need to do it manually, meaning I need to send you the link. It won't happen automatically. So if I'm in session or not at my computer, it will take me a little time to be able to get that video to you. So there is a note about that on the page about how I need to do this manually. So just want to let everybody know. So you're not missing anything if nothing immediate happens in your email. And thank you to those who have already purchased it, and I hope you're enjoying it. And some people have told me they loved it, so I'm happy to hear that. Onward to the new week. I hope the eclipse was good for people. I found it was a time of realizations, an opening of the heart. I found that the last eclipse was, where we need to open to the new life that we're going to be experiencing and how we need to open our heart to get there. And the new life is based around this ending of an era with Saturn, Pluto, and with the eclipse that occurs with it. Now, this eclipse that we just had was a releasing eclipse. It was with Jupiter. So Jupiter at the south node really kind of defined it and helped us release anything that was standing in the way of us being open and accepting and abundant and opening our hearts in any way. And I found that that was the case. So Jupiter is about, gratitude in many ways, about being grateful for things. And I also found that there was a whole dose of forgiveness happening at the same time at that eclipse. So these are things that are in the air right now. And as we close the year, forgive ourselves if we haven't been, if we're hard on ourselves, if we haven't been doing what we want to do, or however that has played out, or who you need to forgive or move on from or move on with. And that could include your ancestors, so that doesn't mean it's something recent that happened, but these are good things to think about. And gratitude for the year, the gratitude that you have for the year you had, and what you are facing in the new year, and focusing on being full instead of where the holes are. So I hope everyone can do that as we move forward. Now, this new week that we're in is going to be interesting because, of course, we're going to be, this is the end of the decade. And as we move into this week, we're going to have a few sign changes, but it's also moving us ever closer to the following week, which is the big week. So next week's podcast is going to be chock full of stuff to review for the week, because we have the lunar eclipse and we do have the Saturn Pluto coming up within that week, and Jupiter in the south node will exactly conjunct on the 8th. So right now in this week, we do have some sign changes as Mars is going into Sagittarius. And so this is a real new shift because Mars has been in Scorpio for a while. And as Mars has been in Scorpio, it likes being in Scorpio. It's been there since November 19th or so. And it's really been in its own place, and it likes that. But it is intense. It is powerful there. Mars does rule Scorpio, it's the ancient ruler. But as it moves into Sag, it's going to brighten things up. And it's going to give us a sense of energy and fire. And with all this earth that's going on, we don't need, more sort of muddy things. And Scorpio can be muddy at times, even though it can be crystal clear at times as well. It is a water sign. So when we get some fire in the picture, which we haven't had in a little bit because we've been moving signs of changing signs with the sun going into Capricorn, and Jupiter's been in Capricorn, and Venus went into Aquarius, so at least we have some air in the sky. But so now we're going to get some fire. So I found that on that eclipse, everybody was exhausted. So everybody was just, whether it was work, whether it was cooking for the holiday, whether it was traveling for the holiday, whether it was the jam that you packed into the week, by the time that eclipse rolled around, the day after Christmas, many of us just sort of went back to bed late morning, early afternoon, and took a nap, because that was just, we were just zonked from the exhaustion of the few days before. The eclipse occurred shortly after midnight Eastern time. And where I am in Costa Rica right now, it's an hour behind the East Coast. So it was really 11 o'clock at night here when that happened. And I actually went to bed earlier because I, like everyone else, was zonked. And I woke up exactly at the eclipse time, which was like 12 minutes after 11. So it was really an experience for everybody. I think that they were, people would keep telling me how tired they were. Everybody I saw was exhausted. We were all walking around really tired the next day. So I think that these energies are high. They are big. They are, especially with Jupiter, it's broad and big. So when Mars goes into Sagittarius, there's more fire. There's more, and we're going to have more energy, because we've had so much earth and so much intense earth that it's been quite a time, and it's hard to get yourself motivated and moving when there's no fire in the sky. So now Mercury's in Capricorn and has left Sagittarius behind in these last days, and it's really been something that has been just sort of repeating of more of the same energy. It's like, oh yeah, more of this. Okay, well, okay, more earth. How much more practical can we be? How hard can we work? This is a week of vacation. Kids are off from school. In Costa Rica, things shut down until like the 6th, but everyone's sort of slugging along because everything is ruled by Saturn. Everything right now is pointing to Saturn, except, well, yeah, everything is pointing to Saturn right now, except Venus and Uranus, which are pointing to each other. And so that's where our energy tends to go right now, with this Venus-Uranus mutual reception. Venus in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus. And so that's where we're getting a little bit of zapped energy. But other than that, the sun is in Capricorn. Mercury is in Capricorn. Jupiter is in Capricorn. Saturn is in Capricorn. Pluto is in Capricorn. The South Node is in Capricorn. So this is an enormous amount of energy in Capricorn, and it's going to stay this way for a while. We got a little ways to go. Mercury's going to speed up and not stay in Capricorn through the whole month of January. It's going to really connect with that eclipse and Saturn-Pluto at that time. So it's going to be a Sun-Mercury when that happens. But we are really, really looking at a lot of Capricorn and Earth energy because Uranus is in Taurus. Thankfully, we've got a little water with Neptune in Pisces, and Mars has been in Scorpio. But Right now, the moon is in Aquarius. And so this has been a heavy plotting kind of time where energy feels dense and thick. And I feel like, yes, things are going to sort of burst open. They always do in an eclipse, especially when it's connected to big planets like that. But the energy is so dense. It's dense and earthy. And that's what earth signs do. They give us this density and they bring us back to earth and they plant our feet on the ground and they make us stay focused and committed and very much about, the practical means in our lives and how we need to stay directed on that path. And, you know, as the moon moves in these next couple of weeks and it goes to Cancer where it's going to be, the lunar eclipse, it's it's going to be that's going to be the big shifting that we feel from day to day, the moods that shift, the tides that shift. But our basic energy here, everything's in Capricorn, and we just got to keep the nose to the grindstone. It feels like we're just really trying to plod through everything, and one foot in front of the other, one step in place, the next step in place, and do things in a methodical way, the way earth signs do. So that's the way we're feeling right now, and that's the way it is. We can't really do much to change that. We can use it to the best of our ability. It's what's available to us right now. So as we experience this sort of plotting energy, what can you get accomplished? That's the name of the game right now. What can you get accomplished? What can you practice that you get good at? Because, Capricorn is expertise. Capricorn is mastery. And where is your expertise going to take you? So if you're getting good at something, whatever it is, it could be cooking, it could be accounting, it could be science, it could be anything, singing, playing music. As you practice in these weeks, think about how much better you're getting. And I think that's one of the things that we have to focus on with all this Capricorn energy. Building. Capricorn is structure. We are building something, a foundation, a structure, and we need to remember that the foundation we're building is going to last. And we have to sort of connect our mastery to that foundation that we're building. So what is it that you're building? What is it that you're getting better at that's helping your mastery, you achieve your mastery? And building one brick at a time, because that's we're laying our groundwork, we're laying our structure, we're laying our foundation right now. So this is an important time in that respect. We have to pay attention. We don't have a choice. We have work to do. Focus needs to be connected, and we need to be practical. It's a serious time too. We may be having fun, you had fun at the holidays and stuff, but there is a seriousness in the air. There is a sense of, straightforwardness and not joking around so much. So that's what we have to sort of remember at this point. On the other hand, you can achieve a lot. Achieve. This is something that we all have to, work with. Pick something. If you don't know what to do, pick something new and work on it. Maybe your meditation skills will get better. That's always a good thing. We think of meditation as more of like a Piscean, Aquarius, ethereal thing, but in fact, it is a practical skill, and we do have to practice it in order to achieve those states. That's what Capricorn does. Remember, Capricorn comes before Aquarius and then Pisces. So before we can achieve the states of bliss, we have to work on what it is that's going to get us to that bliss, whatever that may be, a relationship, our regular job, or a project, or research, or something that's meaningful. So I hope that each of us out there finds success with what we're doing, because that's the goal right now, is being successful at something with all that Capricorn energy. So in the meantime, Mercury is early in Capricorn, and it's making a trine to Uranus, and it's going to be exact at 5:21 p.m. tomorrow. And the exactitude of that, it's like, it's kind of a brilliant aspect. Mercury trine Uranus is very smart, very epiphany oriented, very connected to one's intelligence and one's bigger, brighter ideas, one's innovation, one's feelings of being, having a stroke of genius. So that's tomorrow, and so it's moving into aspect now. The moon's in Aquarius, like I said. It's going to be void 5:24 a.m. till 10:41 a.m. So when you get up tomorrow morning, if you're not on vacation sleeping late, you will get up in a void moon, 10:41 a.m. Eastern time, when it moves into Pisces. It will be in Pisces all day New Year's Eve, and then it moves into Aries on New Year's Day at late at night Eastern time. So it's going to be in Pisces all New Year's Eve, all New Year's Day. It's going to go void in Pisces at 9:14 p.m. New Year's Day, and then go into Aries at 11 p.m. So it's really something interesting that we're going to have all this Piscean energy at the end of the year. It's the end of the zodiac, and it's the end of the year. So, and also be careful, again, I always tell people this, when there's a lot of Pisces, when there's a lot of Pisces energy, don't get inebriated. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, hangover, there's a lot of work to do. So we can't afford to take the time to be, getting plastered on New Year's Eve with the, don't overindulge either. Don't eat too much ice cream or anything either. So that's Pisces energy. And Mercury, after it makes this trine to Uranus, in these next day, it's going to make a trine, conjunction to Jupiter. So this is really good. We knew we were having the Jupiter trine Uranus, and then Mercury is really sort of connecting the two of them again, and Mercury is making its aspect to Uranus, and then it's making this conjunction to Jupiter. So whatever you gain from your intellectual experience of Mercury speaking sweetly to Uranus, you will get a prize on Thursday when it conjuncts Jupiter. So Mercury Uranus is, like I said, it's more intellectual, it's more epiphany oriented, it's more stroke of genius, it's being able to do some strategic thinking, some critical thinking, but also big thinking that takes you in a sort of an unknown direction, and that can pay off big time when it conjuncts Jupiter, when Mercury, the planet of communication, conjuncts Jupiter on Thursday, which is the planet of good fortune, good luck, and abundance. So it's really good that we're having all this, mercurial energy, because that also keeps us fresh and our minds active. Even though Mercury's in Capricorn with all the other planets in Capricorn, it's gonna freshen things up a bit as it touches Uranus and then touches Jupiter. That's a lot of good sparkly energy. So Mars will move into Sag on Friday. It will be ruled by Jupiter, but Jupiter is in Capricorn, remember, so it's like kind of calms the energy. Mars will stay in Capricorn for a while. It's not going to go into the Mars will stay in Sagittarius for a while. It's not going to go into the Capricorn realm in January, because it usually spends a good month and a half in the sign it's in. But we've got some good, fiery energy available to us. So you want to be able to take that fire and use it appropriately when you've got work to do. You want to get yourself motivated and inspired. With the going back to that Venus-Uranus, that's going to go on until Venus leaves Aquarius, which is not yet. It's going to be in Aquarius for a little while, and it's going to give us this independence in our relationships. It's going to give us this thinking differently in our creativity. It's like thinking outside the box. We have to sort of use the Venus-Uranus as they connect with one another to come up with some innovative creativity, to come up with some innovative things in our relationships, to think outside the box in our relationships. And that's all relationships. That's not just one-to-one love relationships. Creative and critical thinking is the sort of the order of the next week or so, and the next couple weeks. Now, as we are moving closer and closer and closer to the Saturn Pluto, that's going to happen on the 12th, which is, around the corner practically. And actually, it's 2 weeks from today. So it feels like it's tomorrow that it's going to happen, but it's really 2 weeks from today. We're moving closer and closer to that. We are going to feel this density, and we are going to feel this intensity, and we are going to get some revelations about what we're supposed to be doing. That Saturn-Pluto is close enough on the eclipse, which occurs a week from Friday on the 10th, that they are together. There's no real separation. And to add extra flavor to all of this, Uranus is going to go direct on the 10th. So Uranus has been retrograde since the summer, in August, and it's going to go stationary direct on the day of the eclipse on the 10th. So I think there's going to be some wild energy flying. I don't think this is going to be calm. I have to go back to July when we had the last eclipses, and the first one felt really energetic, and it was at the North Node, and it was in Cancer, and it was the sun and the moon in Cancer, and it was all, solar eclipse, and it was very energetic. And then when we had the South Node eclipse, which was 2 weeks after, that was around July 16th, everybody was exhausted. And I think this is a symptom of a South Node eclipse. So I think that what we just had was exhausting. I think that everybody just sort of let out a collective sigh and felt like they were relieved in some way, but they also needed to sleep. And some of us got bad colds in July, summer colds, and it took a lot out of us. Now, these are the companion eclipses to those, and it's the opposite. So we had our South Node eclipse already, and then there's going to be all this energy, this is a North Node eclipse, and it's not too near the North Node anymore. This is going to be later in the sign of Capricorn. It's, like this 19 degrees of Capricorn and Cancer. So the sun will be in Capricorn, the moon will be in Cancer, and this is going to be, I think, a little brighter. It's a brighter energy. Having Uranus go direct the same day is going to be really bright energy. So I think we're moving out of the exhaustion phase into the energetic phase. And even though these are not like in fire signs, and they certainly weren't in the summer either, there's this knowing that we're moving towards something that's opening and brighter and probably not so terribly exhausting. It's not going to be dull. It's not going to be dull. And I hope that people contact me, and, you can write to me and say, hey, Deb, I had this really interesting experience during this Saturn-Pluto eclipse, or, I'm feeling this right now. It's a great time to sort of observe your emotions, and it's a good time to not go off the deep end with your emotions. Emotions are really high right now, and having such tension around them with two big planets around the moon and the sun and all, we're leading up to something. So we also are coming to the end of an era. So there's going to be things that people move on with their lives. People have the feeling that it's time to turn the page. It's time to start something new. So we have to sort of be ready for those things and be aware of those things and how they affect our lives and what areas of our lives they are affecting, and where the whole aspect falls in your chart, and where the eclipse falls in your chart will have a lot to do with that. I think it's a really good time to take good care of yourself. I think it's a really excellent time to take good care of your health and to not slack off with that, and to be really aware of how you're feeling physically. And if you are exhausted, then go get some extra rest. Don't go out, don't party on New Year's Eve, go to bed early. It's only one New Year's Eve if that's the case. The rest of the week, the moon is in Aries, Thursday, Friday, it's in Aries all day. So there's lots of, thank goodness there's some days of fire. So we've got, Thursday, Friday, fire. So if you have to go back to work on the 2nd, we've got some motivation and some energy. So there'll be Mars and there'll be the moon in fire. And that's really good. And, it goes void 8:18 Eastern time on Friday night in Aries, and then it goes into Taurus 11:15 a.m. the next morning, Saturday the 4th of January. And so we start a new year with the moon in Aries, which is a great thing. It's the first sign, it's the first of the year. We're starting the new year off right with a lot of fiery energy, so that's a good thing. And as the moon goes into Taurus, of course, it's going to touch Uranus on Saturday afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon, which is a lot of electrical energy, a lot of again, surprises, unexpected events, people popping out of the blue, and possibly, brilliant ideas. And, it's still Uranus, it's still this bright, electrical, unexpected, chaotic sort of energy. But this time it's stationing. So it's stopping in the sky. So even by Saturday the 4th, even though it's going to take another week, really, it's stopping in the sky. It's slowing down. So that kind of slows the movement and makes it more intense as a planet stations. So we're going to be feeling this station in a week from now. And we're going to be feeling Uranus really slowing down to a stop. And so that makes things more intense. When the moon touches it on Saturday afternoon, it could be very electrical. It could be a little bit surprising. And then the moon will stay in Taurus the rest of the weekend, and then be void most of Monday the 6th. So a lot of people aren't going back to work until Monday the 6th. Don't expect to get much done. The moon is going to be void in Taurus from 7:08 a.m. Eastern time to 9 p.m., a little after 9 p.m. when it goes into Gemini. So basically it's going to be catching up on what you left behind before you went on holiday vacation, if you don't go back to work till the 6th. Otherwise, it's going to be a particularly, typical Monday. Nothing terribly out of the ordinary, except we're coming up on all this other stuff. Will you feel it exactly on the day? It's possible you start feeling things right away. Like I said, I'm already feeling dense energy. So we just got to put one foot in front of the other, mind our P's and Q's, mind our business, and just keep moving and just do our work, nose to the grindstone. Nothing's going to hurt you if you just keep working on your life. And I always hope and always wish that people do things that emotionally heal themselves and emotionally connect with their lives so that they can live a better, richer life. And onward into the new year with that in mind. So, this is Deb McBride. This is the Golden Astrologer podcast. Look for my video on my website, thegoldanastrologer.com. My Instagram is The Golden Astrologer, and my Twitter is @DebAstrology. You can listen to me every Sunday. And I wish you an incredibly beautiful week and a magnificent new year. And I hope it brings you everything you want. And this is the time to manifest. So think about manifesting something, because lots of things are in Capricorn. Write yourself a manifestation statement for the new year. This is a great exercise to do while you are experiencing these next few days and into the new year. Thank you for listening. Have a lovely week.